Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Tracy Young. Our guest is Art Levine. He's the host and executive producer of the Straight Talk television show. And he joins us to talk about this year celebrating 15 years on air. Good to have you with us, sir.
Thank you, Tracy.
15 years, my goodness. As you look back, when you first started this show, what were you thinking it was going to be, and maybe how has it changed over this decade and a half?
Well, we started it because there's a need for local programming. Long Beach, as you know, is the largest city in America that doesn't have its own TV stations, and so local programming plays a really significant role here. So we wanted to try and begin to fill that gap, and that was the initial impetus.
And today, what do you hope the show does? What does it represent, or how does it serve the community?
We've evolved into a value-based show, underlying everything I do, because I teach ethics and law at Long Beach State. Ethics are so important, and underpinning the show is the importance of values. And I personally believe that the country is at risk because of lack of values or the wrong values.
And when you start your show, you do something interesting for that first minute. So you actually live by what you're stating.
It's a very moving one-minute tribute every show to police, fire, and military, who are people who every day risk their lives for total strangers.
Right, and we don't recognize them enough as much as we should, do we? Will you speak for a moment? I mean, over those years, you've obviously had some terrific people, and we can't unfortunately name every single one of them, but can you pick someone that was memorable, really left an impression on you, and why?
Well, again, it's which of your children do you like the best? But
Exactly.
Nell Carter, God bless, was in town to do the 30th anniversary show of Raisin in the Sun. She did our show. The crew and I all fell in love with her. And sadly, 6 days later, she died. But Nell made a vivid impression on all of us. We've had so many great political guests: Governor Duke Majan, Mayor Foster, LA County Supervisor Don Knabe.
I understand he turned the tables on you, though, once.
He did, for our 15th anniversary.
And he's a prankster, isn't he?
He did. He sat where you were sitting, and I became the guest, and we had some fun with that. And President King Alexander, head of Long Beach State, has been our regular guest. And so we do politics, the arts, and business is our focus.
Any particular reason why you picked those areas?
They just seem to be the most important ones for us to focus on. I'm a lawyer, I have political training, and I'm very comfortable doing political interviews, but we wanted to broaden it to include business and also the arts.
So as you go back and you look at this decade and a half, how do you plan going forward? You know, all of us are saying, you know, how can we serve the community better? How can we make sure that we're relevant and the show is interesting for people to tune into?
Well, I think relevancy is the key. You just mentioned it. Our show needs to be relevant to the issues of the times, and we address problems and come up with solutions, or our guests come up with solutions, and maybe broaden the show from just Long Beach to more of a statewide or even national perspective.
Oh, good. So those are your plans in the future.
Absolutely.
Oh, we'll be watching for you on that. I want to make special mention, too, that you actually, on a bi-monthly basis, produce a newsletter, which is like it's color graphics. I know you've got sponsors, great pictures in here. Yeah. So this supplements the show? We
have a three-legged branding platform for Straight Talk: the TV show, the newsletter, and also the internet. Our show is viewable on demand at our website, straighttalktv.com. And so we reach people increasingly through other media.
Right, and how important is this newsletter?
It's critically important because people like to still hold something in their hand.
You grow up reading newspapers, you're tactical, right?
Sponsors like to see their color logo, they like the sponsor directory, and we can include things in the newsletter that we don't have time for on television.
Oh, interesting. So you'll continue to produce the newsletter also.
Absolutely.
How important are the sponsors for you to be able to do the show and the newsletter?
Without sponsors, no show, and I'm grateful to our title sponsors and to our other sponsors and also to our first-rate crew that make it possible.
All right. Well, pleasure getting to know you. Thank you for spending time with us, and we look forward to your next 15 years on air, sir.
Thank you so much, Tracy.
You're welcome. For Charter Local Edition, I'm Tracy Young. Now back to CNN Headline News.
It's getting bigger every year. The exciting Long Beach Grand Cru. Delicious gourmet delicacies from the area's best restaurants. Award-winning and competition wines are poured from the U.S. and abroad. It happens Saturday, August 22 in the Rainbow Lagoon Park, downtown Long Beach. Reserve early. For tickets, call 213-640-3894. Proceeds help prevent domestic violence and provide legal services for the elderly and needy. A public service announcement for the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles.